পেয়ে গেছিস তো? পোস্ট করে দিয়েছিস তো? ঠিক আছে, ওকে। Yes, I see that many of you have joined already. Am I audible to all of you? Just one or two of you say just yes. Am I audible to all of you? Am I audible? Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible? Okay. So I'll just wait for a minute or two before we start. Let others join. Others, please join very fast. Others, please join very fast. The whole class has not joined yet. I want the others to join very fast. Okay, whatever it is. Those of you are there, I presume this is the class that we will have. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to say before beginning the class. That is, you must have your internet pack. You must buy an internet pack which is of 3 GB per day. 3 GB per day. It will cost you around 350 to 400 rupees per month. So I hope that will not be a problem. Those of you who are using Airtel, since I am using Airtel, I have bought a pack of 98 rupees, which is of, say, is giving me 6 GB, which will get exhausted after maybe 6 days. Again, I'll buy a pack of 98 rupees and I'll go on like this. So you have to do this, otherwise, way out. Secondly, in your YouTube channel, please listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. In your YouTube channel, you will see on the top right corner 3 dots. Please check on the top right corner, you will see 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots and you will find quality. You will find a thing called quality. Click on that quality and reduce the quality as much as possible. Reduce the quality as much as possible. This will save your bandwidth. Reduce the quality as much as possible. This will reduce your bandwidth. On the top right side of your YouTube channel, you will see 3 dots. Reduce the quality from there. You will save your bandwidth to some extent. Okay, now let us start the class. Okay, the PPT that I sent to you, I hope all of you have received it. Did you receive the PPT that I sent you? I just want to know, did you receive the PPT that I sent you? Okay. So please have the PPT ready with you. Now we are going to start. The first section is phases of project management. In project management, we have already done a video session in the class itself where A, B, C were combined, if you remember. So you need to go through that video session properly again because that is a very, very important topic for your project management, for scheduling. So that video session must be seen by all of you. Everyone must be able to see that video session. So after that video session is over, there are a few things needs to be discussed. Number one is phases of project management. The first slide. Now you may stop answering anything. You may just stop giving me any comments. Just listen. In phases of project management, the first phase is planning, then is scheduling, then is controlling. Now, in the planning phase, development of detailed staffing, procurement, and project control. So, whatever you are going to, whoever is going to work, that is staffing, whatever needs to be procured, that is purchased, and the control phase. These all three things needs to be planned in advance if you want to go for a project management, optimization, or network analysis. Then comes scheduling. Scheduling is meant by development of schedule management. What schedule you are going to follow? That is the network analysis or Gantt chart. Both acts as a schedule. The schedule that you're going to follow, which event will come after which event, or which activity will come after which activity. Each will be scheduled as per the network diagram or Gantt chart, whichever is convenient to whichever. But now we are only talking about network analysis. Okay, then controlling. Controlling means creating review project reports. Review project reports, that is every time, every day you're going to review the report that whether you are on time or not. Reviewing the development of the project, how the project is developing, which activity is lagging behind, which activity is on time, which activity is going ahead of time. So all these three things will be taken into account. Then analyze the status of the project. Status of the project means at what point the project is in. When you are doing the project, when you are continuing with the project, at what point the project is in, what is the status, that also needs to be controlled. Because network analysis is not just for planning. Try to understand. Network analysis is not just for planning. It is for planning, it is for scheduling, it is for controlling. So, till the time the project is over, the network analysis, the network diagram, the full chart needs to be updated, upgraded over and over again. So, these are the phases of project management. Next are the next slide, if you can go through, there are few terminologies. First terminology you need to understand is what is an event. Event is a point in time. While you start an activity, while you end an activity. That is a point in time. It does not consume any resource. Event does not consume any resource, not even time. It is denoted by a circle. If you remember in our network diagram, we had circles and we had arrows. So event is denoted by a circle, which is a point in time, whereas activity is a task which consumes time and is denoted by an arrow. Okay, these two are the most important things in a network diagram. Then merged event. Merged event is something where two or more activities comes and joins in an event. Two or more activities comes and joins into an event. This is a merge event. What is a burst event? Burst event is when two or more activities bursts or comes out from an event. bursts or comes out from an event. That is a burst event. Then we need to understand what is dummy activity. Dummy activity plays a very important role in network diagram, where you cannot really schedule the network diagram or draw the network diagram without the help of dummy activity. Then dummy activity is used. I have just given an example here. If you can just look at this diagram, if you can just look at this diagram, this diagram, see, there is A and B. These are two activities. They have come out from the beginning. They don't have any predecessor. Now, if I say C should start after A and B have finished. C should start after A and B have finished. Then I cannot draw any other way out to ensure C starts after A and B have finished. So what we have done is we have created a dummy activity from B to A. It is denoted by dotted lines. And from here, we are stretching out C. Now this dummy activity is only meant for CPM, only meant for PERT method. It is not meant for CPM method. Okay? So this is dummy activity. Now, next slide is common errors in network diagram. The first common error is loop. I have again drawn a loop here. If you can just see this diagram over here, you will see A starts, it ends at here, B starts, it ends at here, and C starts, it ends at here. It creates a loop. This kind of loop is not allowed in a network diagram. This kind of loop is not allowed in a network diagram. Is it clear? Okay. Next is dangling error. Dangling error also I have drawn a diagram. See this diagram. This is a complete network diagram with E dangling, with E not having any endpoint. So such a dangle activity is not allowed. For this kind of thing, you must join E with the last activity. You must join E with the last activity. So dangling error should be avoided. Now redundant activity. Redundant activity means just look at this. Look at this. There are two activities which are starting from the same event, which are ending at the same event. So if this happens, then both the activities are basically the same activity. So one of them is redundant. It is not really required. So we can make these two activities as one activity and call it A. These are the common errors in network diagram. Okay. Next is advantages of PERT. PERT means project evaluation review technique. All of you must listen carefully. Project evaluation review technique is PERT. What are the advantages? The expected time is determined. If you remember the video lecture that we had in our class, the expected time, TO, TM, and TP, most optimistic time, most likely time, and most pessimistic time. The average of them, that is TO plus 4 TM plus TP by 6, was the formula to calculate expected time. So expected time can be calculated using PERT. That is the first advantage. Next advantage is it helps in completion of the project within an expected time period. So if you have got an expected period of time, it helps you to complete the project in that expected time period. you will not, you are not likely to go beyond the time period because you have considered all possibilities, the worst case possibility, the normal case possibility, as well as the best case possibility. The three cases possibilities you have already considered. So it will not cross that. Next is it reduces the risk factor because the project manager can deal with the fluctuations, in time. The project manager can deal with the fluctuations in time because three times are there: optimistic, pessimistic, and most likely. So fluctuations in time can be dealt with by the project manager. Detailed planning of activity is possible. And finally, it helps in taking corrective actions for completing the project on time. So these are the advantages of PERT. Disadvantages: in absence of past data, it's very difficult to provide the time estimates. Now, if you don't have past records, how will you provide that time estimates? That is, what is most optimistic time? For an activity, 3 days is optimistic time. 4 days is most likely time. 5 days is most pessimistic time. How will you understand this if you don't have past records? So, in order to do PERT, you must have past records of activities. Is it clear? Next, there is no provision about the requirement of resources at various activities. So, what resources are required at which activity is not provided in PERT. Frequent updates and revisions are, here it is, there is a mistake I have made here. Revisions are required. Frequent updates and revisions are required. This will be not revisions are revisions. It will be revisions are required. So constant revision is going to be required while activating PERT. Next is CPM. CPM means critical path method. Critical path method. In critical path method, it helps to determine the time schedule of activities which are in sequence. The time schedule is properly maintained. It helps in controlling the project easily. The manager only focuses on the critical activities. If you have remembered the diagram, when we have drawn the critical path, we were only focusing on the critical activities because critical activities do not have any float. They cannot be slacked. They cannot be expanded. The critical activities needs to be shortened, curtailed to shut down or to short down the project, to make the project shorter. It's only the critical activities that needs to be focused on. These are the importance of critical path method. Now some limitations. It assumes that each activity takes exactly known time. Now unlike PERT, in PERT what we had, there were three time estimates. Three time estimates means optimistic, pessimistic, most likely. But here we have just one time estimate. So here it assumes that each activity takes exact known time. So there is no fluctuation in time allowed in CPM. Any statistical analysis is not used. Like in PERT, we had found the mean. Here, any statistical analysis is not used. Any change in the network will change the whole structure. Any change in the network, if required, one activity is replaced by another activity. The whole path will be changed. The whole critical path may change, and that may completely disrupt the whole critical path method process that you are dealing with. This is the limitations of critical path method. So are these things clear? Anyone have any questions, please? Anyone have any questions, please? Anyone have any questions? Please ask. Amisha Singh is saying last slide. Naividya Mohanty is saying last slide. Last slide is the limitations of CPM, critical path method. Okay, Naividya Mohanty is saying, sir, I didn't get the redundant error. Redundant error means, I'll just show you once more. Redundant error, see, this kind of a activity there are two activities which are starting at the same point, which are ending at the same point. That means they are the same activity. It is not required that to make these two activities two activities. It is the same activity. So that is why one of them is redundant. Redundant means useless. You need not use that activity at all. Is that clear, Noibuddo? Krishnendu Mondal is saying CPM. CPM is critical path method. You please review the video lecture properly. Everyone must review the video lecture properly. There are three types of errors. Karan Sharma is saying how many types of errors are there? There are three types of error: dangling error, loop error, and redundant activity. There are three types of errors. Again, dangling. Dangling is like this kind of thing, where one activity, one member is just left alone, It is not taken care of. In such case, this activity must go and merge with this activity, this event. So it must end at one point. This is dangling error. You should not leave the diagram like this. You must start from one point, you must end at one point. There should not be one activity or two activities dangling or hanging like this. Is it clear? Now, after this, I will send you a WhatsApp with an assignment. I will send you an WhatsApp with an assignment. Please solve the assignment at home and then give the online test. The exam code for online test for section C ends with, the test code ends with 6215. The online test code ends with 6215. That you will give at the later stage of the class, just when the class is about to end. There are only few questions. You just answer the questions and that will be over. But before that, I will WhatsApp you an assignment. Please solve that assignment in the class, at your home. Sorry, at your home. Okay? 6215, right? It is 6215. Ananya, Ankush, all are saying 6215. That is the code. That is the last four digits of the code. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, class.